Welcome to The 11 with your hosts, JJ Pavlick of Bad Dog Sports and Anthony Merced of AJM Sports.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Red Bull Arena, along with, of course, JJ Pavlick. We're getting ourselves ready for the Vancouver Whitecaps versus the New York Red Bulls. We're talking about the team that's undefeated on the road versus a team that is unbeaten in 6 games. And if we're talking about statement wins, well, they had an opportunity in Los Angeles. Tonight, here we go again. What are you looking for in this country match?
This match, I'm going to be looking for the matchup between Brian White and, well, Lewis Morgan. The two are pretty much could be the keys for this game in this midfield.
We know how very good Vancouver is. Of course, naturally, they're second place in the Western Conference. Red Bulls, of course, are not slouches themselves, so they're second place in the East. However, when you're talking about two different distinct styles, Whitecaps are pretty loaded, and they're a very good side against a team like the Red Bulls, where they want to come in pretty hungry, and they understand that they had an opportunity last week to walk away with a win. And although a point on the road is, very well, you feel that somehow they let that slip.
I think they blew the opportunity for 3. I know I had picked a draw originally, but like we had discussed on the pod, like the win was there. Not once, twice. And actually, if you really want to be technical, 3 times, but Elias missed that one. You know, but to only get points out of those games, it's a point, but it's frustrating as hell because it should have been 3.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, this is a match where, plain and simple, if they want to be a quote-unquote contender or even a great team, this is it. They have to make a standing team. But now, instead of doing it 3,000 miles away, they're doing it right here in front of the fans, so the jury is out. The question is amongst the Red Bulls is this a good side or not?
Tonight we'll find out. If we can get the 3 points, watch out Philadelphia, watch out Cincinnati, watch out Miami.
As I say, we'll see what happens to them. We'll see you guys, of course, after the game, of course, after the players' interviews and such. We'll see what happens 90 minutes from now. For JJ Pavlick, I'm Garry Redman. We'll see you after 90 minutes.
Welcome back to Red Bull Arena. I'm here with Garry Redman. Now we will discuss the match over with NYCFC and Charlotte. Last time those two met, it was a 1-0 Charlotte win off of a set piece. But this is a very different New York City side. How do you see it going, Garry?
I see this as a continuation from last week. NYCFC is starting to heat up, and that should be serving notice to all the teams above them. We know how much of a good side they are. Santi Rodriguez, James Sands, and the rest of those boys, they're getting their act together after starting out slow. Here's the thing, though. They got a tough schedule for the rest of the week. They're going in with New England. We know England's a very bad way. Charlotte, they're stepping in there. They're one of those squads that start out a little late, but they're going to heat up a little later. But this is the time for NYCFC to step up and stake their claim and serve notice to the rest of the teams, of course, in the conference. We're coming, and we're knocking on the door.
I have to agree, and this is the game for one Mounsef Bakrar to just come out blazing. The kid's been aching for a goal. We spoke with him at training about the moment where he put his head between his hands. He said it was the hardest moment of his career when he missed that tap in. He's been working on the finishing. He feels that it's there. He's been working with the sports psychologist. He's been working with teammates. He's been working with his coaches. Hopefully tonight is the night for him. The fans are planning on giving him a standing ovation in the 9th minute, like they did Tati, and it worked for Tati.
And it worked for Tati.
Well, let's see if it works for Mounsef.
Bakrar will be fine, okay? Yeah. It's going to take him. This pretty much underscores what we've said about every single player that comes into Major League Soccer. It's not that easy when you think it is. There are some basically some rough riders in midfield and defense. When you're not used to that type of pressure, when you're not used to that type of physical contact, and let's be clear, Major League Soccer is a very physical league, okay? So, that said, I do think that he's going to break out, and when he does, NYCFC is going to be an extremely different team going forward. If he starts lighting up, Maxi Rodriguez starts coming in, and they start getting together, watch out.
Also of note, Talis Magno will be on the bench today. He is probably going to be looking at 10 to 15. Maxi is, from what's being said, 3 to 4 weeks out from being in that starting lineup. Things can be heating up in New York.
Oh yeah, things can be heating up in New York, and of course at the end things will be heating up in the Eastern Conference. It's going to be very interesting. I said give this about a month. We'll see what the standings will look like when it's all said and done. I could be wrong, of course, but my gut tells me otherwise.
Yeah, we've got the Red Bull here against Vancouver. Gary, what do you see as the final score?
I see this as a 1-1 draw, and I'll tell you why. We're looking at two teams with very good offenses, but at the same time, we're looking at two teams with very good defenses. It's going to find out which defense is going to crack. Now, mind you, you don't have Andres Ransom, thank goodness for some people, okay? But at the same token, I think the Red Bulls really want to serve her serve here at home. They know how much of an opportunity they blew it. It's fast, they've really forgotten about it. It's not a rearview mirror, I think. But they've yet to lose a game at home.
Yep.
And they want to keep it that way. At the same token, you're talking about a very good side of Vancouver that's not afraid to win games here. And Brian White, well, he knows how to get goals in this building. Kind of feels that they traded the wrong guys for both teams. But hindsight, of course, is being 2020. We're not going to talk about that. Either way, you and I are going to see a very entertaining side. We'll see who blinks first.
Yeah, I've got it. Along your theory of 1-1, I just think Dante, in the dying minutes, if Sandro gives him that 90, is just going to do what Elias Minot couldn't in LA, which is bury the game winner.
He's hungry.
So I have it 2-1, but, like we said, both these teams have only given up 9 goals.
That's it.
Both have only given up 9 goals. Who's going to break? Somebody has to. On to NYCFC and Charlotte. What do you have going there?
I got City winning this one. Charlotte, they have not found their way yet. They're still the same team as last year defensively. They're a good side, but they're prone to make mistakes. I'm giving it 3-1.
All right, so you're going with Anthony. I'm going to stick at 2-1. If Mounsef was more on target, I'd probably lean to that 3-1 as well. Who knows? We could see a goal from Santi, Julian, and Mounsef, and there's your 3 as well. I'm going to go 2-1, but we shall see. All right, on to the game, and we'll see you guys post-game.
Coach, talk to us a little bit about what Vancouver brings to the match on Saturday night. They're a team that's in great form. They're undefeated on the road. They'll be missing Kubas, as an important player for them. What's your overall thought about Vancouver?
You mentioned everything. So it's a tough opponent. It's a good quality in their roster. Most of the time, they played the last games in a 3-4-3, and they have also a typical structure in the build-up position. So, very good team, very strong team also, and so it's a good opportunity for us to show our quality against the top team.
Next, go to George.
With another game where we get down to the end and we could have came home with 3, we come home with 1. Is there any part of it that frustrates a little bit, or you're happy with the coming back with 1 against a team like LA?
No, we analyzed the whole game, so and also we analyzed the last minutes of the game that we lost these 2 points, and especially the situation. What we can improve in our defending, that we don't stay too deep in such moments, and especially as the second half in some moments that we have the chance to score the second goal and maybe then the third goal. I think this is what we have to improve in our development, our way, how we want to play. And but on the other side, we are very satisfied which performance we can show in LAFC in our home games. That gives us confidence how we want to play, and it's also necessary then for next Saturday against Vancouver.
Thanks, good, Anthony.
Coach, so this season hasn't been the easiest start. Lots of away games, lots of teams that are looking to be higher up the table. You haven't had an easy run yet of it. What's your perception of how the team has adapted to you as a coach through these tough games, and also how they've adapted to the overall scenario?
Yeah, we were able in these games against very good teams, especially on the road. We were able to win the games, to get these important 3 points for us, and for me it's more important how we create these 3 points for us in the table, in the way how we play, in our behavior off the field. This is for me more important, and it was good, and now we have to continue this process, what I mentioned at the beginning also. This is now the next step for us in our next very difficult game against Vancouver, to reach our level, to raise our level then in the next line, and this is for us necessary on Saturday.
We'll go back to Mark.
Can you talk a little bit about the confidence of a player like Elias, who continues to be in good positions at the end of matches, but hasn't been able to put the ball in the net? How do you build a player up who's obviously perhaps feeling like he's letting the team down a bit?
Yeah, at first it's very good for him and for us that he is able to create these chances and these moments, and especially in the game, the last game in LAFC, this movement was very, very good. So was unlucky then with the crossbar, and he had this moment then 1 week before in the home game against Chicago. But the best way is to try every day, to try in the next situation, and he did it now in the whole trainings week, and this is what we expect of him, and to try to keep also his level in the next direction, and it's good to have him as an option, and he trained very well in this week, and and he showed this in the games as well.
Next we go to Joe Pantorno on Zoom.
Hey, Sandro, thanks for taking the time. How has Peter Stroud been doing? It's been a little over a week since his surgery.
Yeah, it's the same way like Serge and Gomar and Roe Mitch after their surgery. So it's in a good way, in a good direction, but it's a long-term injury.
How would you say he is mentally?
He's good. He had his birthday yesterday, so he's now 22 years old. It's a little bit too old for the Red Bull philosophy, I told him today. But he's mentally in a very good spot.
Next we go to Garry Redman on Zoom.
How you doing, Coach? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
While the team you're facing, of course, is undefeated on the road, meanwhile, your squad is unbeaten in 5 matches. So what have you discussed with the team to be able to keep that going now you're playing at home? And my follow-up question is Corey Burke. Is he going to be featured in any matches anytime soon? And how is his injury, if any, is progressing?
Yeah, his progressing is very well. He started on Tuesday with the team training. So he will be an option for us to sit on the bench, and this is what we have to check tomorrow to take the final decision. And yeah, to compare the road games and the home games, it's not a big issue for us, to be honest. So we prepare how we want to play. We analyze the opponent, and it's not a big issue for us. Now we play in our home stadium or in a away game. So it's better to have this feeling, to have these emotions with our supporter in our stadium, with all our staff, our employers. That's a good feeling for us. But what happened on the field, it's not a big issue for us.
Next we go to Gustavo on Zoom.
Coach, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You have a familiar face coming to the Red Bull Arena next Saturday, which is the striker Brian White, who used to play for the Red Bulls. In 7 games this season, he has 4 goals and 2 assists. How are you working to prepare your defense to face up against him?
It's the same way like when we play against Schwarz. It's the same way when we play against the strikers of Columbus, Cucho. So it's not man marking. In some spaces, especially in box defending, we have to be careful as a player with high quality. But we have to defend not only against him, against the whole Vancouver team. And what I said beginning of the press conference is a very good team. It's a special structure in the build-up situation with 3 center backs. Then it's a little bit more diamond in the midfield center. Then they have high wing backs, 1 striker, and this is what we have to prepare in our defending behavior.
Next we go to Voss on Zoom.
How's it going, Coach? Thank you for the time again. And I know a lot of talk has been on Brian White and Ryan Gold, but another player that has been seemingly scoring goals and assisting is their center back, Veselinovic. Is there any plan in place to try to contain him during set pieces? Because Vanni Sartini's team has been coming off of a victory on the road as well, and are scoring goals off of those direct balls.
Yeah. Our coaching staff analyzed the set pieces in their defense behavior and also in their offense behavior, and they scored a lot of goals in set pieces. We analyzed this, and this is what we have to adapt in our behavior, what we have to do against this structure, and hopefully we will find a very good solution. And last week, especially in our offense, the coaching staff, our coaching staff made a great job, and we had also the situation with Vicky Carmona to score after set pieces, and we analyzed all these situations, and hopefully we can defend very well.
Next we go to Christian Ortiz on Zoom.
Good afternoon, Coach. Thank you for your time. You mentioned Vicky Carmona. That was actually going to be related to that question. Do you believe Dennis Gengar's performance has earned him a starting role, or do you see him more active from the bench?
We will see. We will see tomorrow what happened in our training. Dennis Gengar, after his sub, he made good movements, good deep runs. Could be an important topic for us against Vancouver. But Vicky played also very well the games before with his left foot, and it's a little bit different type of player like Dennis Gengar, and he's comes more between the lines, like in the half space in the red zone, to show his quality. And we will see tomorrow both players in a good spot, and we will see who will start them on Saturday.
We'll go to Mark.
I'm curious how you thought about your 6-hour trip to stay in the league. Obviously, a larger distance than anything that you've encountered previously outside of Europe in particular. What was that like for you personally and for the team as a whole?
Yeah, we traveled 2 days before. It was then on Thursday, and we had our training session on Friday on the academy trainings facility of LAFC, and it was a great training session in LAFC from the whole team. And it's tough. It's tough to have this flight, especially after the game, for recovery time. And we came back in the morning, Sunday morning, so the whole Sunday is then To be honest, it's over about for recovery or training session. It's a new experience, and the team made it very well. The circumstances, how they play in after this flight, after this travel, and for them, I think it's not a new experience. More for me, for the whole coaching stuff. And now we are happy that we have a short drive by bus from our hotel to our home stadium with our supporters.
Next, we'll go to John Lupo on Zoom.
Thank you, Zach. Sandro, Vanny's a coach, and Vancouver's a team that uses zonal marking, and they're good at defending space, staying compact, defending as a group, being very positionally aware. So how do you get them out of that element? Do you try and maybe play a little more out wide and stretch them out, create space for yourself? And how do you take advantage of maybe the gaps and spaces that'll be open if you're able to successfully press them?
Yeah, very good tactical question. It's a challenge for us to find the advantage, to find the space where we can create 2 against 1, 3 against 2 situations in our build-up situations after winning ball, to find good spaces for our transitions. This is what I said. Is a very good opportunity against the top team in the Western Conference to show our quality and to find then our solutions, especially with the ball. And we need the whole energy in our defense, in our pressing behavior. We have to be very compact in our lines with our back 4 behavior, with our both 6 positions. This is very important, and it's necessary that we defend very strong against Vancouver, especially in the center. They have a lot of players there, and very good players, technical 1 against 1 players, also with the ball. And we have to find good solutions with the ball, good space behavior, which we can create 1 against 1, 2 against 2 situations for us.
Nick, Mike Andrew from Blue City Radio. You talk about form versus freshness, and you've got 2 wins back to back with the same lineup, but then you're playing against a team that is probably going to give a different approach. What are your thoughts?
I definitely think it's going to be a different game. I think when you play against DC, you know there's going to be a transitional nature to the game. It's physical. What we've seen from DC previous was how much they dominate the game with a physicality. So that definitely was in my thinking when I picked the team. This is a different game, so potentially we will go with a different. I think we've got to focus on what we're strong at and why we've put up a good performance. But at the same time, I think there is opportunity to change the team on this one based off the style of the game and the profile of players that we have. So, we're starting to piece together what we feel will be critical in the game, and then we'll pick the guys that we feel will really suit that. But we're getting to the point now where I think some of the players, we're training so well that there's guys in there that are really chomping at the bit to get a game. So that is definitely in my thinking.
Hey Coach, how are you? Scott Schertz from Street Punk Sports. Talk a little bit, if you don't mind. The team right now is 2nd in the league in block passes with 94. What do you attribute that to? Any thoughts in that arena? Thanks.
I think it's just work, right? We looked at our team last year, and we used. I'm really lucky that I have a really big data insights department, a really exceptional performance analysis department, and the review that we put on the team last year was in depth. It was 2-3 days in our city office. It was looking at what are the positives and negatives of last year's performances and what is going to give us the best opportunity to finish above the line and finish in the top 4 and potentially finish in number 1. That is where everyone wants to finish, right? And then you go through the pre-season and the work, and we translate the data and the performance review into the players and give them the opportunity to train hard and to, I think James Sands, Keaton Parks, we have Andres Pereira that we've seen improved our team, the pressing nature of our team, the counter-pressing improvement in our team, all of this, all the different. The one thing I think is really important is we create goal chances from every phase of the game. That is, if you look at our team against DC and our team against New England, it's just looking more like the vision I have for our football team, and we're in that process and that, the progress of that and I understand we all want it to come quickly, and it's starting to come together, right? And those data metrics help us. Those things that we look at, and we look, the expected goals at home, all of this stuff is going to really help us. So I'm proud of it, but ultimately, I'm judged on the score, right? I'm judged on the amount of points on the board. So we translate it into performance, and we make sure we keep pushing the team hard.
Coach Mohammed with the Exchange. So Charlotte has been a different team this year. They've been scoring from different players, 8 different players or 9 different players. How do you prepare for something like that? Not the goals coming from one person that you would stop. If you could talk about how you prepare for that.
Yeah, I think we've worked really hard over the last 4 or 5 weeks at our defensive organisation and how we make sure that we retain the sort of, we were difficult to play against. We didn't give so much up last year, but we just didn't score enough. But if we're going to try and create goal chances, what we don't want to do is create more chances, score more goals, but let more in on the other end. We have to retain what we were good at last year. And I think, whether it is somebody like a Christian Benteke that is really, really strong at a certain part of the game and is really, prominent in that area, or a team like Charlotte that share the goals out across a really, a deadly forward line, Vargas, Copetti, they have strength, right? They've added a new DP, they can score from Westwood, they have Arfield, they have good players all over the field. And for us, it's about understanding how we deal with situation, whether it be crossing moments, whether it be direct balls, whether it be a team like Atlanta that want to show a lot of combinations and use Almada. And, we've got to have the ability to defend the game in whatever situation is put our way. Now, when we watch and we scout the opposition, we can start to lead the team into the trends of what we expect and the threats of what we think are coming. So I think the analysis department are doing an incredible job. I think our coaches outside are doing a great job in preparing the team. But we're at the mercy of the leadership of the team in executing those moments. And whether it be across 4, 5, 6 different players or whether it's one guy, if we're going to be a team that consistently wins, we have to deal with the threat that's coming. So it's a different type of threat, but I think our team has the ability to cope in those moments, but they have to execute on game day.
Roberto?
Maybe it's redundant, I hope not, but they say styles make fights, and Charlotte is pretty much a new team in this league, and yet they've given you fits, winning 4 out of 5 and only 1 tie. Why has it been so difficult for New York City to be able to find a way to get a win against them?
You know what? You stole my line. We were in the city office yesterday as a group, just looking at the first 9 games, and my whole thing is styles make fights, and I think that is something that I will continue to press the staff and the front office and the coaching staff and the support staff on, because I agree. Charlotte has been this team that we've never really managed to get a result from, whereas I've never lost in Atlanta, or I've never lost in Montreal away. And, when you look at our away form versus our home form, I think you can look across this. I don't know if there's one specific thing that says why this is this and why that is that. But ultimately, if we want to be a team that continues to be in form and push up the league, we have to win against every team that comes to our home field. And we have to make sure that we prepare the team to win. Now, it's difficult, whoever you face, whether it's Charlotte this week or Colorado next. We have to make sure the team is prepared, and those little things offer the team motivation, right? This is one team that we lost at Red Bull Arena in 2022. We drew last year at Citi Field in a game that we 100% should win. This is an opportunity this week to put that right, and then the next time we come in, you'll be saying that I haven't won against this opposition or that opposition. But we just got to focus on the game, right, and make sure that we continue this good form and we continue putting points on the board.
On to the Zoom, Javier.
Hey, Nick, Javier from City Boys. The last time you guys went on a 3-game winning streak was back in 2022. And after that Red Bull game, you grabbed a beer with the fans. Any plans on grabbing a beer after, if you win this game?
I definitely think that the 3-game run is something that we have a huge desire to do. It's something that I said after the game in the locker room. It's been a long time since we've gone back to back. Too long, really, since we went back to back. So it's good to enjoy that after the game. And now we have the opportunity to do a 3-game, run. So we have to make sure we do that before we think about anything. I know the journey that we've been on with myself and the fans, and I'll continue to work hard to make sure that I put this team in a place that is the place that we feel and we expect. You know, me going for a beer with I don't think that's my decision, unfortunately, at the moment.
Oliver?
Hi, thank you. This is Oliver Strand with Hudson River Blue. The team have gone undefeated since Miami when you wore Stone Island. And since then, on the sideline, every game you have presented a much more tailored look than you have in the past. I'm wondering if you could comment on that to see if there's a correlation between the team's success and your fashion choices, and also why the change? Why the shift in your sideline wear?
I actually got a lot of comments about the Stone Island jacket, staff and players, and now the problem you have when you wear something that gets a lot of comments is if you wear it again, people start to think you only own one piece in your wardrobe. So I didn't want to, I wanted to show the variability, the variety that I have in my wardrobe. But I actually wore a shirt underneath the New England game. I wore a white shirt, which is new for me. It was a little bit more smarter, but it was cold, so I had to wear the jacket. And then I'm not actually an overly superstitious guy, but I went with exactly the same clothes for DC. So now I'm in that sort of period now is where do I go again? If you repeat 3 times and you lose, but then if you wear the same thing 3 times over, people think you only have 2 jackets now. So there's going to be a fight all the time with myself of what I wear. But, I appreciate the comments on the tailored look, because not many people have told me that before.
Back in the room,
Alex here with the Exchange. Can you talk about Santi's recent performances?
Yeah, Santi's been excellent. I said after the DC game that it was a masterclass from him in the sense of not only his effort and his energy and his desire to work for the team with and without the ball, but just his decisions, his creativity, he obviously got the goal and he gets the assist, but just being that guy that can almost dictate the play for us. He has a real ability to play at high intensity. And when you get these impact guys, the important guys that play at the top of their game or close to the top of their game, because I actually think he still has more. Everybody else follows. Maxi Morales has been that guy for so many years for us and will be that guy again, right? But Santi is really, he's leading the team in his performances and his offensive impact. And I think, for us, it's about just really continuing to push him forward, continuing to push. I think that I spoke to the team this week. I think that the key thing for us, for Santi Rodriguez, is where we're getting him the ball. These guys want to come deeper and they want to get on the ball and they have a real desire to dictate the game. Well, for me, it's about him dictating the game between the lines and in front of the defensive back line and in positions where he can really affect the game. And I think we've done a better job at that. We have to continue it. When he plays well, the team plays well. So he played well against DC and he's really hungry to continue that.
JJ?
Hey Nick, Talus has now been available in back-to-back training sessions. Can you just provide an update on him? And is there a chance that he sees any minutes in this match against Charlotte?
Talus trained 2 days or one or 2 days pre-DC, which was, gave the team a real lift to have Talus back in there. This week he's gone everyday training. He's trained fully. He's been in the group. He's unrestricted. He's back in the team and the squad. But it's been a sort of day thing. It's something that I'll go back in now and we'll review how he feels. We'll look at how he reacts overnight. And there'll be a conversation tomorrow that whether he's in the squad or whether he isn't. He's really close, so he could be in the squad. Unlikely that he's going to start the game based off how long he's had out, but he's going to be really close for him. He has a huge desire to be in the squad. And, I'm sure if you ask the medical guys, they would say 1 more week. I'm sure if you ask Talles, he would say, I want to play yesterday. So there's a huge desire from him, which I think is the main thing. He's so keen to get back with the team and produce on the field for the team.
Thanks, Nick. Back to the Zoom, Chris Campbell.
Hey, Coach, Chris Campbell from the outfield. Question on Juvan's fitness level heading into this game. He was with the team, away from the team. He came on sub appearance last match. So just curious as to what your thoughts are on how many minutes he could get on Saturday, and then also your thoughts on Maximo Carrizo and his recent form and whether he has a path to the first team.
Jovan, it wasn't ideal, the visa situation. He went away with the Serbian national team. The problem that Jovan had was he picked up an ankle injury with the Serbian national team. So not only was he going through the visa process and not with the team, he also wasn't able to train. So whether he's in full team training, so I can't say he's behind, but it's not ideal to not have been in team training for the amount of time he wasn't in it. He saw the field on the DC game, and I think it was great to get him back in the team and get him motivated and get him back involved and give him that little bit of feel with the team. He could see as many minutes as the game demands, really, in the sense of when I make the decision. The problem I have is Alonso Martinez has trained so well, and Alonso Martinez is really hungry to really challenge those guys. Mounsef Bakrar, Jovan, Mijatovic, he's pushing, right? He can play off the side, but he has a huge desire to get in the number 9 and really push them. So, I'll make that decision in the moment based on the game. I think Alonso and Jovan and Mounsef are all 3 different profiles, and I'll make the decision based off what the game demands, really. Carrizo, he trained with us today. I went out there and spoke with him, and he's getting closer and closer and closer with the way that he plays. You can see when he's adding goals and assists to his game in our MLS2, in our Open Cup games, he's showing that he can be the difference. So he has to continue to work, but he's definitely getting closer. It's about retaining the form and really pushing hard now to learn the game and learn the intensity level that is demanded by our first team. But he trained again with us today and showed a real high quality with the team.
Mohammed with the Exchange again. So Dean Smith is new to the league. Have you had a talk with him before this game, and do you see his playing style or coaching style change from coming to MLS in prior years?
I did speak with Dean. Yeah, I spent some time with him in pre-season in Coachella. I have a mentor that works in Manchester that came and spent 9 weeks with me over pre-season and the start of this season, a guy called Brian Eastick that Dean is actually really close with. So he introduced me to Dean and we spent some time together. Both guys have worked across the Premier League and worked at various levels in England. So Dean is a top coach. He's really high experience Premier League coach, Aston Villa, Norwich, Brentford, but also a really illustrious playing career. So a guy that will add huge value to whatever team he coaches in. I think his style is very similar to the way that he played in England. You can see, 4-4-2, very organised team, very difficult to play against, very difficult to beat, but good with the ball, can create goal chances from every moment, can, a very mature, experienced team, can score from set play. We saw that in the game when we played against them. So I have huge respect for him, and a guy that gave me his experience and a lot of his experience when we met, only short periods in pre-season, but like I say, a guy I have huge respect for.
Final one, Christian.
Hi, Coach. You played Charlotte much earlier in the season. You've talked a lot about progress and the process. Is this a good opportunity for the team to validate where it's made that progress in the process?
I think so. I said this to the team, I think that, it's hard, right? Because rejection is the biggest motivator. And when you don't get results, when you get ties, when you think you should win, and you lose games that you think you might get a point from, it's when you've got the characters we have in our dressing room and the guys that we have, it really forces you to continue to work and to continue to fight and to stay together. That's why I've said every week this team is together, because I see the work rate, I see in the eyes, I see the belief. Now the difference is when you start to win, there's a danger that you can start to think that it's just going to happen and that it's just going to come and that it's fixed now and that actually we're a team that's just going to continue to win. And that's not the case in any football or in, for sure, MLS, because of the competitive nature of the league. You have to keep doing what you've done and keep working and improving and reviewing and everything that we've done when we maybe haven't got the results that we either have deserved or that we feel that we should have got. Now that we're getting the results and the performances, we're not actually there. We scored our second goal in the 93rd and the 91st minute. We for sure should have scored our second goal earlier, which would give us the springboard to continue to attack and gives you different situation and different problems to react from. So, we have to continue to work. This game is another test of our ability to repeat performance, to continue to keep the standard where it is and continue to raise the bar. And whether we change the team or go with the same 11, the opportunity to be a better team than we were last week is there. So, irrelevant of the opposition that we play, this is another test of our ability to keep improving, retain performance, and keep moving forwards.
Great. Thank you, everybody.
How's it going, man? A great effort out in LA against a very good team in a very tough place to win. Talk to us about the team psyche. You've had a couple of experiences where wins turned into draws late. How is the team feeling in general about it?
Yeah, we were definitely, it was definitely like a knife to the heart. Honestly, not being able to come away with 3 points in that game. We worked so hard over an amazing LAFC side away in that environment, which was new to a bunch of the players, I think, for us to be in a game like that and against such a good side. And we did an amazing job, but just didn't close out the match that we needed to get the 3 points. But I think we have to take that performance and focus on how we can just be locked in, not give up set pieces. I think that's something that we're continuing to work on in training and focus on getting 3 points this weekend.
Thanks, George.
So, second time, trying to follow up on what he said, second time this season that we've left points on the table. But now switching up to going to this week against a tough opponent like Vancouver, how do we make the switch?
Yeah, we had to take all the positives that we did in that LAFC game because there were a lot of good things that we did. I think we had them on the ropes most of the game, and you can see that our style of play, and we're just continuing to grow and improve, and the chemistry is getting better. And I think this weekend with Vancouver, it's just all about locking in and really focusing in on those moments and even practicing them on the training ground so that those sort of moments that when they do happen, because they're going to happen, that's the game, that we just don't allow to give up chances. And I think Coach also talked about just being able to kill teams, and we go up 1-0, it's like how can we go up 2-3-0 and not even give them a sliver of hope or chance to get back in the game. And that'll come. We have so many guys on the team that can finish, that are so good in the attacking half, and that's something that we'll continue to work on and continue to provide on the field.
Thanks, Anthony.
Daniel, you're a player in demand at the moment, obviously a starter on this team, potentially heading to the Olympics. How are you handling it going from, the last few years being a reserve team player to now a constant starter and potentially being in Paris in a few months?
Yeah, it's a really great feeling, I think, where I started back in 2022, even 2021 with the second team, and now where I am right now. I think I've made a lot of strides in my development, and I'm super happy to be on this team and be a guy that has a lot of responsibility in the middle of the park and making sure everyone else is doing their job. And being a young player that I am, I want to keep improving and keep trying to elevate my game and make everyone around the team better.
Next, go to Joe Pantorno on Zoom.
Hey, Daniel, appreciate the time. How have the expectations changed maybe around you and your team compared to last year when, again, you're talking about a result like you guys had last week and you label it a knife to the heart. Is that maybe the same kind of thing that you would have thought last year if you had a similar result? Thanks.
Yeah, I think no matter what, the team is different this year for sure, but I still think it would have been a devastating result. I mean, we did get a point out of it, which is a huge point, but it did feel like we could have come away with 3 points. And I think that would have been the same for last year. But yes, we do need to take into account that the team this year, we brought in new players. I think, Sandro and the coaching staff have done an incredible job in quickly acclimating everyone to the style of play and informing everyone of new tendencies and new situations on the field. I think that's something that has been really helpful for us, going over in some tactical walkthroughs and certain situations that present themselves in games. We go over and we take a look at them in the film session. And I think this year we just have to keep going, keep learning about each other, and we're definitely in the right direction.
Hey everyone, we have time for 2 more questions with Daniel. First we'll go to Voss, and then we'll go to John Lupa.
How's it going, Daniel? Thank you for the time. Just wanted to ask, coming off of the last home result, the draw against the Fire, is there any added pressure to try to deliver the 3 points this time around with the way that the team performed in LA and just trying to carry that momentum?
No, I think we've all know what we need to do this weekend, and we want to make the fans proud of our effort and get them the 3 points that they deserved last weekend. And more for ourselves, I think we owe ourselves a good win this weekend against a very good Vancouver side who have been playing really well. And we just need to focus on our principles. The performances have been good. I think we've definitely been unlucky a few times with just how the game's gone. And again, we need to kill teams and really finish our chances again and put them away so they don't have any hope that they can get back in the game. And like last week with Chicago, on top of them for pretty much that whole first half, and then we still had chances in the second half. So that just shows that what this team has and the mentality that this team has, and no matter what comes at us, we're always willing to fight and fight till the last minute.
And we'll finish up with John.
Daniel, both of the goals against LAFC came off of set pieces, and Vancouver is off to a strong start, but sometimes they do have the tendency to concede on set pieces. So how important, when you get that opportunity, how important do you think it'll be to continue that momentum and some of the things you were able to do when you were able to score off of those set pieces against LAFC?
Yeah, set pieces can change games, and it's definitely a massive opportunity for us. We have a lot of great targets in the air and a lot of beautiful set piece takers on our team that can whip in a nice ball, and I think you can sniff it coming that we're almost there and being able to score goals and completely shut out teams on set pieces because we're so dominant in the air, and we have like I said, such great attacking threats in the box, and I think that's an aspect that can't be discounted when going into matches against, like you said, a team that concedes, but also a team that has been able to win games in Vancouver. So definitely just need to be prepared on all fronts.
And Mounsef, you had that one moment at the end when you came off last game where you just had your hands over your head. Can you just walk us through what was going through your mind at that moment?
Yeah, actually, it was like I was really disappointed about the last chance I missed. I was doing really good. It's just keeping happening the same things. Just missing the last chance. I do everything. That's what makes me, I cried. It was too much for me, and But after that, everyone showed me the love. Like you say, like you saw in the game when I missed the chance, everyone came to me and just like they said, it's okay, it's coming the next one. So it just happened like this, and I was really sad about what I missed. It's not about the coach or something. I really appreciate the belief of the coaches on me, and all the stuff. So I just need to work hard more and more, so I can get my first goal and too many after.
After the game, we had spoken to Nick, and he had said the teammates were rallying behind you after that moment. During the week, a lot of the fans and the support groups have also been rallying behind you. What does it mean to know that everyone still has that faith in you to get that goal?
Yeah, of course. It makes me feel so good. It's I didn't miss. I saw too much. They showed me too much love. I was really happy about that. I didn't expect that actually, but when I saw that, I felt like I'm in my family. My second family. That's affected me a lot. So I really appreciate that, and that's how the team works. If we want to succeed, we just need to be a group. We just need to be united. And everything will come.
Perfect.
Final score, New York Red Bulls 1, Vancouver Whitecaps 1. We talked about the final score. We knew it was going to be a 1-1 draw, but what we didn't see, what we wasn't supposed to see, was a lot of lackadaisical play, especially on the offensive side of the ball for the New York Red Bulls. Brian White came in, of course, got his return. He got his goal, and of course, Morgan Lewis got his in the 65th minute. What did you see that you liked or did not like?
Dante and Lewis Morgan's constant non-stop attack. Dislike the entire midfield. Was Forsberg horrible? No. Was he great? Also no. He looked his age tonight. He does speak about responsibility, but when's he going to take responsibility? He's going to have to feel something that you
8 games in, and we're not seeing. You know, people are expecting the Forsberg of old. They're not going to get. They're not getting that. But what do you want to see more of, on the ball and off the ball?
Honestly, if he wants to be a holding midfielder, which seems to be his strong suit right now, fine. But be a holding midfielder. Stop taking shots away from your forwards when there's lanes right there for them to take it. You don't need to pop one up from 20 out. But yet, he still thinks he's a goal scorer, and as long as that's going to be, he's going to have to get criticized for being a lack of a goal scorer. And that goes back to his accountability. He wants to hold his teammates accountable. Well, Mr. Forsberg, you are the captain. When are you holding yourself accountable?
Well, something that we pointed out during the game. A lot of too much thinking on the ball. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Constant, when you see the shooting lanes, from our vantage point, they were there.
Yeah.
Okay. We talked about this in the first half. It was a very frustrating first half for the Red Bulls, but it was frustration on their own making because they weren't very decisive on the ball. And it took away from a lot of opportunities, and maybe scored maybe 1, maybe 2 goals in the first half. That didn't happen. And now they're going to go into Miami, who are offensively they're firing on all cylinders, and you cannot do that. You know that you're short, or should I say, you know that you don't have enough offensive firepower to match them, but you certainly can't, bury yourself offensively when you're rely on your defense to keep you in the game. Speaking of defense, you lose Noah Ellie, you bring back Andres Reyes, which is probably your favorite defender, but does the defense suffer for the lack of Noah Ellie?
It does in some ways. We all know what happens to Sean Nealis when Andre Reyes is out there. His inner Incredible Hulk comes out. The other thing of concern is if Reyes gets another red card. He is not missing 2 games next time. He's missing an automatic Noah, look, he's a 20-year-old kid. He made a mistake. Sandro kind of put it the best way you could. If he doesn't put that hand up, it's a breakaway for Vancouver. Does Carlos make the save? Probably. Did you really, in that moment, want to gamble on your goalkeeper making that save? Take the red card, reset, and they were actually holding their own after that red card. They had a couple of chances. Unfortunately, we had the wrong forwards out there, even if Sandro doesn't want to admit it. And we saw it. Corey Burke had a perfect opportunity to blast one in the back of the net from 18, and he stood there and literally dribbled while standing still. I don't think that. I never thought that was possible.
I didn't see it.
And yet that man literally dribbled 20 times and didn't move an inch.
8 games. I mean, it's a case where, of course, we're being a little critical here and there because we're in the position to do so. Yeah. Overall, it's a point.
Yeah.
The 3 points in 3 games. Bottom line for you, JJ, is it time for concern or is it time for panic?
I wouldn't say panic just yet, but let's just put this out there. This team is different without Peter Stroud.
Yeah.
When Peter Stroud was here,
there's some bite in that midfield.
That midfield was dangerous. Right now, that midfield does not scare me at all.
And it's not going to scare you to Miami, who is their next opponent on Saturday. Let's hope for something a little better, but of course, naturally, AJ Sports FC will be all over it, coming and going. Final score once again here at Red Bull Arena. New York Red Bulls 1, Vancouver Whitecaps 1. Good night from Red Bull Arena.
1, 2, 3. We'll just touch on NYCFC real quick. Welcome back to the 11. We'll now go into the New York City FC game and talk about a team on fire in New York. 3 in a row, last second goal to beat Charlotte, and now possibly will be the 5th or 4th seed by the end of tonight.
As I said in the pregame show, they're heating up right now. Red Bulls need to, and other teams above them in the standings need to keep pace. Miami has done so. Red Bulls, they got a point, so they're staving off a good game. Philadelphia, I don't understand what happened in Philadelphia. That was a winnable game, but they've dropped that result. But City is heating up at the right time after they stumbled out of the gate early. And remember, many of their players who were injured, they're going to be coming back pretty soon. And they're going to be quite a force to be reckoned with. Now, do I think they're going to be a dominating force down the road? Maybe. However, as I said early in the show, that's going to be a team that people need to pay attention to, especially if you're in the top spot in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, while it's nice to get points, we've already seen the effects of only getting 8 points instead of 3. Cincinnati jumps the Red Bull and takes second, which, to be fair, if the Red Bull did business, they'd still be the 2nd seed right now.
It's expected.
It could come down in New York to which forward core wakes up first. And, I have to hand it to City fans, getting behind Mounsef tonight. He's been going through it. He somehow hit the post, hit the keeper, hit the post.
He's going to get his.
He's not far off. He's not far off.
He's going to start getting.
And the scary thing is when he does get his, I don't think he'll do what Tati did. But who's to say he cannot do what Tati did?
I think he's going to do more than what Tati did. And
that's scary.
Overall, when you look over to the other New York team across the Hudson River, they seem to get forwards where Red Bulls can't. They seem to have guys that misfire, kind of cream. Again, can also be concerned. You're not worried about it at this point. Super safe tonight.
Right now, Nick Cushing, a guy who, by all means, their support group wanted out.
Yeah.
Thrown out in his to be right. He said it was a process. He said, give us time, be patient, and you will see results. And
you're seeing
knock,
results.
knock, knock, Red Bull. The pigeons are on your front doorstep.
Soon they're going to be over your heads. Okay, next, what are you seeing next for NYCFC in the next game?
Oh man, their next game will be a little bit of a challenge. Will we see 4? Honestly, I need to see what Tallis is going to be, what his Tallis, because let's be honest, Tallis Magno makes a difference on this team. He's another threat, he's an aerial threat, he's a set-piece threat. With him in there, this might be one of City's nice long runs that they get from time to time, and honestly, if they put a 5, 6, 7, 8 game win streak together, Red Bull might be looking up instead of even. And that's not a knock on the Red Bull, they are there too. It's just right now, City is getting 3s, and Red Bulls are getting 1s.
That's not what you want to have when other teams below you have. What we said before, mistakes that you make, what's it saying? Mistakes that you make in the spring, you're going to pay for it in fall. Are the Red Bulls in that particular category? Maybe, maybe not. But here's the thing that your boy Red Bull fans coming up, their stretch of this road, this gauntlet that they're going through right now ends after that. So it may be able to put some points between now and, of course, the break before the League's Cup. But for now, I wouldn't press the panic button over in the New York side just yet. But this is expected. Remember, not a lot of folks didn't expect this team to even sniff first place when this thing got started.
All I can say is New York show up for these two teams because they're putting on performances.
Yes, they are.
The amount of empty seats is puzzling given what these two teams are doing. Like, these are not two horrible teams. These are two teams that when they get to the playoffs can be very, very, dangerous. And especially with this summer window, some of the names being thrown around by both teams. Oof, watch out, MLS.
And that's it for now.
Thank you, Garry, for appearing, and we'll see you next week.
Bye for now.